Mabuhay!
Hi! Welcome to
The Babaylan Bruha Book Club podcast.
It's Your Village Kapwatids, Steph.
And Aimee, and here we are together again. And as always, in efforts to decolonize our minds, bodies, and reconnect with spirit by ways of relation via conversation, of education, interpretation, and integration.
So, this is our invitation for you to join us on our journeys as we discuss the works of honored artists, authors, and thought leaders in the Filipinx diaspora.
Quick disclaimer, we want to acknowledge that in this moment, everyone is exactly where they need to be.
And since we are not experts, yet we share our own unique lived experiences, we invite you to take or toss any statements, opinions, words that we may use as you choose.
We are so glad you found your way here.
So as always, before we begin, we want to take a moment to ground, taking a pause, drop into your body, and become fully present in this space. If it's safe for you, we invite you to close your eyes, straighten your spine, and direct your focus into your breath. I'm going to invite you now to take some inhales with me and extend your belly out. And then when you exhale, bring your belly back in. Let's do it together. And let's do it once more. You can breathe now on your own, but try to connect back into your body and into this moment. Don't worry about tomorrow or today. Can you allow yourself to feel what it's like to let go? As we begin our conversation, we'd like to thank God, Batala, Creator, for another gathering. In gratitude, we acknowledge our benevolent ancestors, and we invite all those forces to support and guide this conversation today. We want to thank the ancestors of the lands Aimee and I currently occupy, knowing we cannot do our own decolonizing work without remembering them. For Aimee, that is the mound builders that are on the Hopewell and Adena people in Ohio. And for me, that's the Bay Miwok Yokut people in the Inland Bay Area of California. With gratitude, we also acknowledge your presence, Kapwatid, your energy and your lights, no matter wherever and whenever you're tuning in.
Okay, thank you, Tita Steph, for that lovely prayer in the beginning.
I'm a tita. Yeah.
Are we titas or ate? Ate Steph, thank you.
I'm both.
You know, I'm a tita here, so whatever you want to call me is fine.
You're so
don't call
funny.
me Lola. Don't call me Lola just yet.
Don't, yeah.
That's too much.
Who would call that? That's messed up.
I call myself that.
Tita.
Yeah.
Anywho, we're doing Bruha's stuff.
Yeah, so we have a new book this season. This is season 3.
Can we count 3?
Yeah, season 3 because this is our third book.
Tatlo ng season. Sorry, Mom.
Yeah, so we have a new book, and it we'll talk about it a little bit later in the Brown Girl Cliff Notes. But it is very much kind of like stories, historical stories. So it's not necessarily bruja things. It's not necessarily babaylan things. So we decided, instead of our regular decolonizing heart check that we usually do, we're going to do a Bruha Check. So we're just going to spend 90 seconds, talk a little bit about what bruja things we've been doing, what bruja things that we are being inspired by or want to try, et cetera, in hopes to inspire y'all to also do your own rituals and practices and really take care of yourself, your energetic body, and your spiritual body. So
Yes.
that is that. So here we go.
Okay.
Who's going first?
You want to rock, paper, scissors it?
Yeah, just 3 times though, tops. Okay, ready? Here we go. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Up you go. Or you
Yeah,
win. So
I
you
win.
decide?
Yeah, I win. So you choose what you want me to do.
Wait, what? Wait, you win.
I won. Oh, wait.
It's 2
Yeah.
out of 3, isn't it? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, damn it. Okay, wait, think. Let's go.
Okay, here we go. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Okay.
Okay, it's tied.
It's tied
okay,
now.
so it's tied. Okay.
Okay. Here we
So-
go.
For the
All right.
win. Ready?
Yeah. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
You win.
I win.
So you decide who goes first.
I'll go first.
Okay.
I'll go first. Okay. Wow, maybe I am Lola Imi if I don't understand how rock, paper, scissors.
I was like, you won, but you're so nice. Thanks for so nice. You're that nice kid on the playground. Like, I have a new ball. I'll share with you.
I would. That would be me.
Oh. Okay.
Okay.
Ready?
I am.
Bruha Tings.
Bruha Tings.
3, 2, 1. Go.
Okay, so my Bruha Tings are simply to get back to my regular Bruha Tings.
Oh.
You know, summer's been fun and I've been lots of travel, lots of like experiences. And then along the way, so I regularly meditate in the morning. I usually meditate, journal, call my energy back, clean and clear and whole, just, meet with my higher self, etc. before I go into my day. But slowly that habit has been falling to the wayside. So I get to pick it back up, and I have been. So, but it's one of those things where when I was in the evangelical church, everything was super religious. You have to do this, right? And so there would be a time when if I didn't do my regular bruja things or whatever, I would feel shame, like, oh, I'm a bad person. So it's nice to like have just to notice that I need to come back to these practices without putting shame on it. Does that make sense? So there's no shame for not practicing something regularly. Oh, there we go. But you just notice and you come back. That's all.
Yes.
So I'm back, baby. And we're back.
We're back. Literally. All the puns. Season 3, episode 1. What's that? See, Bruha Tings.
Bruha Tings. Okay, Ati Steph, you ready?
Yep.
Bruha Tings for you in 3, 2, 1.
Bruha Tings. I've just been taking more baths. I am getting my fitness back. I have been injured. So this has been quite the mind, body, spirit connection of really, I think it took me this long to realize how sacred my vessel is and how I need to treat it like it's sacred, because it's always used to capitalism, go, 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 go. And when I was injured, I really learned the essence of stop and rest.
Yeah.
Even though I really wanted to exercise, I was like, nope. My body was like, we need to heal. So now that I'm like in the segue to like get back into my fitness game, I have had to take Epsom salt baths a lot because I'm sore after workouts, and it's combined with the Bruha Tings, all the herbs, all the Epsom salt, oils, burn, sacred smoke, set my intention, speak to the water, tell it that I love it, and tell the sip the tea. Yes. Sometimes I'll even sit in the bathtub till it drains, and I'll just speak to the water like, anything that's not serving me, please leave with the water. Thank you. And I'll thank the elements too. I'll thank the spirits and stuff like that. So yeah, it's been like a bruja ting to cleanse and honor. Yep. So.
I love that. That's very bruja. Use a bruja, huh?
Oh, can I just 10 more seconds?
Yes.
Bruja tings. I was working today, sis, and I was just tired. Okay, your girl's tired at the end of the day, and I was like, please don't pick up. Oh, God. I was like, don't answer between the rings or reschedule. Don't answer, reschedule. It happened.
It happened. See,
and it shall be happen. Yep.
There you go.
Twice.
There. What? Wow, you is a bruja, huh?
Bruja things.
Yes.
Spells. Words are spells.
They are.
Okay.
Well, that is the Bruha Check. So check in with yourselves, kaputid, see what energetic or spiritual checks you can do with yourself. And let us know in the comments. All right, so here we go for Brown Girl Cliff Notes. Like we said at the top of the episode, we are starting a new book. It's season 3, episode 1. So we are currently reading 1521, Rediscovering the History of the Philippines by Judy Robinson. So this is actually a relatively newer book. So 1521, the book began, Judy Robinson kind of began writing it in the summer of 2020 when she was inspired by the 500-year anniversary of Ferdinand Magellan's arrival in the Philippine Islands, and she decided to revisit Magellan's story. So Ate Judy, who was born and raised in the Philippines, but now lives in the Washington, D.C. area, she has an innate curiosity and love for learning. So she did a little digging and pieced together stories that she and even friends who grew up in the Philippines as well, but now live in the U.S., were unaware of. So stories such as that of Enrique de Malacca, who was Magellan's slave, and who was actually probably the first person to circumnavigate the globe even before Magellan, and other stories that told of illiterate people in the Philippines and a thriving trade and commerce even before the Spaniards arrived. So Ate Judy right off the bat clarifies that she is not a historian and that this book is not a history book, kind of like we're like this, we are not experts.
Yeah.
So she kind of says that in the beginning. Rather, it is a collection of forgotten stories related to the history of the Philippines and the advent of Spanish colonization. She says, because with the 500-year anniversary of Magellan's arrival in 1521, it's time to share an updated perspective. So in rediscovering these stories, we learn who we were, who we are, and who we can be. So the recurring themes discussed in this book include Filipino resilience and adaptability, with kind of the push and pull of a variety of influences from geography, religion, and economics to create a rich and colorful tapestry of Filipino culture. So chapter 1 actually touches on the influence of geography on even the current psyche of society in the Philippines. So the 7,641 islands are in the Rim of Fire, the string of volcanoes extending along a tectonic plate line that runs from Indonesia to Japan, making the Philippines home to a number of active volcanoes. It is also in the Belt of Pain, an area of seismic activity stretching from below Hong Kong to the north of Malaysia and Singapore. Add to that, parts of the Philippines are located in the Typhoon Alley. So we can add yearly typhoons to the volcanic eruptions and earthquakes. So this can understandably cause a continuous sense of anxiety and fear of the unpredictable. However, according to psychology professor Alfredo Lagmay, Despite living with the constant threat of disaster, loss of home, displacement, and resettlement, Filipinos learn to confront these apprehensions, to become psychologically ascendant, and not to be mastered by events. Ati Judy points to three cultural coping mechanisms that Filipinos have come up with to answer these disasters. Bahala na, which we talked about in previous seasons, but here she defines it as an active calculation of the odds, as much as it is a passive sense of acceptance of one's fate. Number two, the coping mechanism is bayanihan, usually depicted as a group of Filipinos lifting a bahay kubo or wooden house and moving it from to another location away from impending floods or landslides. So bayanihan implies working on another's behalf and assuming another's burden. And the third cultural coping mechanism was the particular sense of humor shared by many Filipinos and their ability to laugh in the face of even the worst calamity or disaster. So, storytelling and swapping jokes with friends was perceived as an important means of dealing with angst, relieving stress, and overcoming anguish. So, that was kind of the Cliff Notes, the Brown Girl
Woo!
Cliff
That was
Notes.
good, sis. You done
Thank
give
you.
him the entire test.
Did I pass? Did I pass?
Yes. And I want to just shout out to her appendix because she cites all the experts too. So it's not
Nice.
just writing blindly. There's podcasts and articles and websites. So you can go down the rabbit hole if you like with the appendix.
Thank you for pointing that out. Then thank you, Ati Judy. So I thought I am really interested in reading the stories that she curates and just seeing the because an author's book is kind of like their perspective and her growing up in the Philippines. So she was born there and then raised there, right? Yeah. It's very interesting to me how she sees things, because we see things a certain way. And I was thinking too about the cultural coping mechanisms that that she lists, like bahala na and bayanihan. Those two particular, I don't think, as far as coping mechanisms for me personally, I don't feel like I really resonate with those. And I don't know if that's because I grew up here in America, right? Mm-hmm. But the third one,
yeah,
the humor.
Yeah. I think I was when you're describing the weather, climate, and geographically how we've had to deal with a lot, our ancestors and current residents deal with a lot of uncertainty, or different volcanoes and typhoons. It's kind of what the Filipinos have been through too, and even the ones in America. So, and some of them, the best, I think, I don't want to call them gurus, but spiritual leaders out there, they're funny because you have to laugh at the shit that humans go through. You can't be too, if you don't laugh, it's like a way of energy release too, speaking from an energy perspective. And last thing I'll say is, that TikTok with how Filipinos laugh so loud.
Yeah.
They laugh even when I'm with my childhood Filipino friends, it's so fucking loud. I think it's because we're releasing all the pain and even Kevin Hart. I think it's just a humanistic thing. He has a laugh at my pain comedy segment, right?
Yeah.
Because we've been through some shit and we still are. So laughter is medicinal in many ways. And I just want to say quickly, batalana or bahalana, that was definitely said in my household growing up. Whenever it was conflict and it got to a point where nobody was really seeing eye to eye, people would just be bahalana, whatever.
Yeah.
So
it's fine. Let's let it go.
Like
Yeah.
God, let go and let God. Like,
Let go.
for real.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and I feel like as far as the humor as coping mechanism goes, it was interesting to think that that's just not, well, I mean, it could be a personality thing, but that perhaps it's even deeper than that. Like it's in my DNA. I'm like predis- predisposed to have humor as a coping mechanism, right?
Yeah. I
And
think, yeah.
yeah.
I was just saying, indigenous people, they have to find ways to laugh. Like, they've been living in apocalyptic times. Like,
Yeah.
there's been colonizers coming and trying to like take over them. And the levity that they can maintain speaks to the resilience
Mm-hmm.
that I think a lot of people of color or anybody oppressed really, you know. Um, so yeah, I think that those are great coping mechanisms for people listening out there. How do you manage when you're feeling oppressed or
Yeah.
down? Like, how do you come back into your power? And I think it's cool to highlight that's culturally what a nod to like what Filipinos have been doing.
Yeah. It's in our blood to survive
Yeah.
and to adapt. Just like fucking
And be
moving your
silly.
house, just like, okay, just call 5, 7 friends and be like, hey, there's there's a
It's
mudslide about to
flooding.
happen.
We gotta move.
I need you to come move my house real quick.
We probably did that, sis. Okay, some quick tea. Like me and Ivy had the same dream.
Oh yeah.
And no lie, like what you're explaining is where I was like stuck in those by neon houses. Like
Oh,
it was raised above the water. Remember?
oh, yeah, 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 yeah.
So
Yeah.
oh
Bruha
well.
tings.
Bruha
Bruha
Check.
tings.
But thank you for that recap, sis.
You're
You
welcome.
covered pretty much all of it for everybody who wants to catch up to introduction. She has chapter 0 too.
Yeah, I kind of like that she has chapter 0.
That
So
was creative. Yeah, it's such a Filipino thing. Like, let's just make a mesh.
yes.
So yeah.
Okay, so we're back and we're going to do vocabulary words like we normally do. So Ati Aimi, which is me, and Ati Steph, we both will have some vocabulary words, and then we'll talk about some quotes that kind of hit us, and we'll have some conversation around that. So my vocabulary word is barcada. Barcada. So it means friends, gang, a group going together. So from the introduction, Ati Judy talks about during the pandemic reconnecting with her high school barcada via Zoom. And I don't know, I just like this word, sis. I just
Like gang gang. Is our version of gang gang.
Yeah. It's like who's going? I'm going with my barcada, you know? Like I don't know. It feels good.
The
Like
Mayari is like a form of Barcada then.
yeah, it just feels different. It just feels different energetically than to be like, yeah, my friends or my group of people or whatever. It's like barcada. You're part of my barcada. For
Hey.
real.
Ow ow. Likewise.
So
As if y'all didn't know by now. I
yeah.
mean.
Oh my gosh. So we haven't recorded in a while. And so
Yeah.
I don't know if people are like wondering, maybe nobody's wondering where we are, but I was like, oh my gosh, I wonder if they thought like we like broke up or like like got into a big fight. But no, because
we're Barcada.
barcada. That's why.
We're also, I mean, I've talked about past lives, like definitely been
Yeah.
in each other's past lives. So yeah. Barcada. Who's your, I'm not even saying it. So Barcada. It's so American. Barcada.
Barcada. Barcada.
Barcada?
Who's in your
Say
barcada?
it with the accent though. Say it with the accent. Tita.
Barcada. I think you have to roll the R a little bit. Barcada.
Barcada. I can't. That's why I took sign language because I could not roll my tongue.
You got it. Barcada.
Yeah. Anyways, y'all get it. Barcada. Kababayan. Kababig. There's another one that my Lolas would say.
Kayabigan.
Yeah.
Which is friend.
Yeah.
Kababayan is, I think, like a fellow, like a citizen or like somebody who, like,
yeah, my dentist said that to me. I didn't know she was Filipino, but
oh, there you go.
She saw my my necklace and then she's like, "Ooh, kababayan," and I was like, "Oh, you're Filipina." So,
yeah, it's like kababayan, and then you have your kaibigan, which is your friend.
Kaibigan.
Then you got your barkada. Do you see what I'm saying?
Oh,
It's different. It's different.
Tell him. Barcada.
Yeah, there you go. You got it.
You know what I'm saying? You hear us? You feel me?
Yes, the Babaylan Bruha Barcada. What?
Hey, put that on a shirt.
What?
It's coming soon to a store near you. Okay.
Yeah, I'd wear that. Babaylan Bruha Barcada.
I just want to shout out to I think it's Entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Empower Pinoy is anyone for the men. We gotta be inclusive. Pinex.
Yes.
Identify. Being inclusive here. We are inclusive. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, Barcada.
Okay. I'm complete. Thank you.
You would think that it's a smaller book with shorter chapters, but we can still talk.
We can
be back. Did you miss us?
They're like, maybe.
Maybe kind of. Okay, 30. Page 30 is my word. Pinatubo. I can say that without sounding hella American. Pinatubo. Pinatubo means made to grow in Tagalog, which seemed appropriate for the fertile soil that develops from volcanic ash. So Pinatubo.
So that's like from Mount Pinatubo.
Yeah, which as Amy was saying in her geography lesson earlier, the world's second largest volcanic eruption of the 20th century was the eruption of Mount Pinatubo in the Philippines in 1991.
Mm-hmm.
So she was there. Ate Judy was there. And then a typhoon happened the next day. See, Filipinos have been dealing with shit forever. That is not happening here. I feel like, oh my God, I'm going to die.
Yeah. And our internet would go out. We wouldn't know how to survive. What?
You remember the last typhoon that was like publicized, but the roof came off? They were like in a...
Yeah.
Shout out to our cousins.
I have a Mount Pinatubo story, actually.
Oh, snap. Tell them.
So I was in the Philippines, not in 91. I forget. It was like 90. Wait. I don't remember. I was young, but it was around that time. And I was with my mom and we were traveling through the provinces, like by bus. And we stopped at this one bus station and we picked up some people. And my mom was telling me to look out the window because everything was covered in ash from Mount Pinatubo and people had to leave. And the people getting on the bus were the people that were leaving. And I remember there was one young woman, like she was older than me at the time, but looking back, she was probably like early 20s or something. So like a young adult. And I remember as we were driving away, she like put her head down, like on, like laid her head on the seat in front of her, you know, like kind of like this. And she was crying. And I remember asking my mom like why she was crying. She was like, well, some of these people have to leave. They lost their houses because of Mount Pinatubo. I was like, oh man. So I don't know how this relates to what we're talking, but I mean, like, you know.
Yeah, you saw a survivor come on and have to literally migrate somewhere safer for now. Or
and it was
it
was so poignant. Like I remember it to this day.
Yeah,
thinking about it.
It moved you.
Yeah. So
how old were you?
I was 9. I was
Oh,
9. Yeah.
Ate Aimis.
I know. I was 9.
That's your Cancerian rising coming out. Is it rising? Right.
Sun.
Sun.
Sun. Cancer sun.
Ah,
So, but anyway, pinatubo means to grow.
to grow. So
Huh.
what are you pinatuboing, y'all's
And it's
Babaylan community?
wait, it's interesting that it's Mount Pinatubo and it's destructive, yet it's growth. Let that sink in.
Oh,
You know what I'm saying?
shit. Let me tell you something. Mount Pinatubo is going off on Stephanie. I'm in a chapter of shadow integration, y'all. It is pray for me. Anywho.
All right. Are you complete, sissy?
I am. Hey again.
Hey.
Welcome back to the 7 Amy Show.
Here we go. We're going to go into quotes. Ati Steph, do you want to go first?
I go first this time. Okay. Speaking of resilience, we've been talking about it earlier. She says on page 18, citing a pediatric psychologist who works with families impacted by traumatic burn injuries and life-changing illnesses, resilience doesn't mean bouncing back to normal. It means being transformed into the new normal. Resilience, in turn, requires acceptance. O'Donnell wrote, acceptance doesn't mean being okay with what isn't okay or acting as though things that are hard are easy. It means that acknowledging things are not as we want them to be and then finding ways to live and even thrive in spite of that. Changing what needs to be changed, even when it's really hard. Acceptance means forging a new path. So, again, this speaks to what Filipinos been doing or what indigenous people have been doing. I will even, shout out to just people of color been doing, and we'll nod to the people who are white. They have had their share of things. Humans, that's what humans do. We're resilient.
Humans have resiliency, and specifically Filipinos.
Yeah, have hella resiliency. You got a typhoon alley and volcanoes and and slave trades, being in America, being brown, being a disadvantage by birth, depending. That's a generalization. There's obviously exceptions, but the point is, and in general, as a human being, just want to nod to that. Part of being resilient is, I think this is a key. These are key. They're human codes. They're hacks, life hacks. Acceptance. Resilience comes from acceptance, and acceptance leads to some form of freedom, I think, because, that's kind of just meaning. One of my teachers says, it's saying hello to something. It's saying, hello, this is where you are. This is where I'm at. And I don't like it, but I'm just acknowledging it. So, and then doing what from there?
Yeah.
I think typically Filipinos will laugh or drink.
Karaoke.
Yeah.
Go get some boba with their barcada.
Okay. Barcada, boba, barcada.
Boba barcada. Yeah. And I like how it says resilience doesn't mean bouncing back to normal. It means being transformed into a new normal. Integration, baby.
I think too, I want to speak to how 2020 put the world through that, depending, no matter what class, creed, color you were. And people are I just want things to go back to normal. It's not going to be normal because we can't unsee what we now see. People don't not know about germs anymore. You must have been living under a rock if you don't know about wiping down things and wearing masks and stuff.
Right.
So yeah, that's just where we are now,
And it's the thing is, it's okay, acceptance, just accept it. But it's hard. That is the work, to accept and let go, because there's so much resistance to that, and you've got to work through anxieties, fear. You got to literally say bahala na.
Literally, because there's just a point where everybody's different again, but you do have to chuck it up to a higher power because there's only so much you can do.
Yeah.
You're gonna exhaust yourself. I speak from experience,
Mhm.
right? There's a point where you do have to just like, I don't like this, but I'm saying hello to it. And then
Mm.
that's where the work shows or
Yeah.
doesn't show. Cause then
Yeah.
people still, and I've done this too, go back into old ways of not being okay with it, right? And then it can
Yeah.
be harmful. So
Yeah, and it's the integration piece, saying hello, just like anything, like even like the difficult, I'm thinking of like shadow work. And when you meet parts of yourself you don't like, you don't push it away. You say hello and you integrate, you start loving, you start accepting. So, doing that internally, and then you start to do that externally as
yes,
well.
yes, yes.
So,
So much yes. Yes.
wow,
And
that's
it's
good,
not
sis.
for the faint hearted. So
Mhm.
for those doing that and
Mhm.
maybe finding your language or your path with it, like just know it's, that's essentially what I think is the collective's being called to do, just to
Yeah.
become more emotionally intelligent. Like we
Mhm.
can't run away. You can do whatever you want. You can do whatever you want, right? Everybody's sovereign, I think. Um,
Yeah, they are.
but yeah. So I just brought that quote up to share that, that's a technology that Filipinos been doing resiliency, and part of it is just accepting it.
Beautiful. Are you complete with that, Sissy?
I am.
Yay. Okay, thank you so much. So my quote is from chapter 19. Chapter 19.
We
What the
there
heck?
already? We just
What?
started.
No, it's just the next page over on page 19. And Ati Judy quotes Philippine historian Ambeth Ocampo, who said, "History is not as simple as it looks. It is never innocent, never objective, because it always carries a point of view." He has seen how history can be, quote unquote, weaponized to marginalize certain people or sectors of society, how it can imprison people in views not of their own making. And then Atidudi goes on to say, "That's why I thought it was important to view history as many stories and not a single story."
Yeah.
And
Mm.
so there's that. uh I wish I knew who originally said it. I think actually it might be an African proverb. Is um I'm gonna mess it up. Oh yeah, there's an African proverb about a lion. Like, okay, I'm not gonna even quote that one because I don't remember it verbatim. But there's a quote that goes something like, "History is written by the viewpoint of the victor. History is written by the people who won, who were the victors." You know what I mean? So even in the history of Philippines, after the Americans took over, they rewrote some of our history books to make it look like
Yeah.
America was amazing.
I didn't even know about Magellan's assistant.
Hmm.
See, like you just speaking to
Yep.
this I don't want to even say his name, the M word. The assistant was the one probably taking all the notes and stuff. And
Yep. 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 Yep.
this
So
might have been like, I don't like, but you paying me. We're going on trips, so I'm gonna go with you. I'm not mad at him. What's his name? I forget.
I don't know what's his name. Who are you talking about?
His
Magellan?
his slave. You said.
Oh, yeah. It was
Malacca or something.
Malacca.
You put in the notes. I'm trying to.
I know, me too. Yeah, Enrique de Malacca. So
Enrique, give Enrique his flowers.
thank you, Enrique.
Unless
Yeah.
Enrique was a dick too. I don't know. No.
I mean, he was a man, so I'm
He definitely had
uh,
one.
my bad, my bad, my bad, my bad.
Let's not go
But
to.
anyway,
Yep.
so history is not as simple as it looks.
No.
And then even if, history was written by the victor, there are so many other little stories. And I feel like it's going to be interesting to see. I don't know. I'm just interested to see how we were back then, like pre-colonial Philippines. Not that we romanticize pre-colonial Philippines, but I feel as if I'll speak for myself. Sometimes I feel like I look back and I'm like, yeah, let's go back. Not let's like wow, it was so great back then. But I know that people are people. People have always peopled in the history of people. So I'm
Ooh, a
sure
word. Mhm.
so I'm sure that like not everything was 100% amazing,
Right.
so it's just interesting now to go back, and I feel like I'm a part of my decolonization journey, like where I started was like, oh my gosh, um I want to really research my roots and see the good things about it that I wasn't told about, right?
Yeah.
um And so now when I'm reading that quote about history is not as simple as it looks, I'm like, oh man, there might be some stuff that sucks too back there,
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
just like our ancestors. Like there are healed and whole ancestors who are benevolent and for our highest good. And there may be not some that are not so healed and whole and ready to have our best interests. So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like I'm at a part in my own personal journey where I'm kind of ready to integrate and to accept and to know about all of the parts, because before if you told me like, oh, like some critique about pre-colonial Philippines or whatever different story, I would maybe reject it a little bit because like I want to look back and be like, no, it was very, very, we were an egalitarian society and we were,
Yeah.
this and that. And so,
And that is what white people are doing currently because they want all the good history and the history books. It's I
yes.
think it's image politics.
Mm.
We want to be perceived and looked at a certain way.
Mhm.
And uh, I learned this past, it was a word that's like my church now. It's like, um, we don't incentivize vulnerability enough yet.
Mm.
And that's why people aren't really ready to own their shit. Like,
Mm.
it's not normalized enough.
Yeah.
It's on the way. I mean, you're seeing people like kind of show their shadow sides on media, pop culture,
Yeah, that's a whole
and
other story
I
though.
know it's another tangent, but I just say that to say I think part of healing is like owning that you are flawed and you do
Mhm.
have darkness to you, because that's
Mhm.
and it's not easy, again, like you said, saying hello to your shadow and hugging him. It's like facing your fear. Like you can fear yourself because it's like you don't want to see yourself doing something atrocities of humanity, like what we do, but
Yeah.
atrocious. So I was trying to get to that word. But yeah, sorry sis, I went into a whole.
No, no, no. This is a conversation. But yeah, so
Right.
that was my quote. History is not as simple as it looks. And so I feel like that is a great lens through which to read the rest of the book and to even look at your own story, your own. I will talk of my own self. My own personal history is not super simple, so
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right. Like there's growth and there are places where it's like, shit, what? Like I was what? Where? I did what? like I was that person. Oh no. So, but still looking back and being like, okay, owning it, like that was part of me, and I'm going to still love and forgive and accept myself. So, um, so yeah, that is that.
That is that.
That is that.
Thank you for that quote.
So, as we end our conversation and close out this container with gratitude, once again, we recognize and honor all the ancestors of all the lands that we occupy. We also recognize and honor you, dear Kapwatid, for joining our conversation today. And as always, Stephanie and I leave you with a blessing. May you find your own stories and humor to heal and deal with stress and overcome anguish. May you find your own barkada to help you move your own symbolic Baha'i Kubul. And as you continue this brave journey of decolonization, may it continue to lead you to rediscover and understand who you were, who you are, and who you can be. May the remembrance of Kapwa anchor you into your heart, and until we meet again, may you know that all is well and will be well, and that no matter what happens,